morning. It is January 7th. Thanks so much for joining us here on ARC Rochester. I'm Abby Fordman.
And I'm Dan Schrack. A lot to get to this Tuesday morning, including the Rochester Women's Community Chorus celebrating 100 years of music. Can you believe that? We're going to be getting a preview of the upcoming musical journey.
Yeah, and then later on, Tykes is setting the stage, presenting an exciting musical, all based on a beloved picture book. We'll be joined by one of the cast members to learn more about it.
Before all of that, let's talk about the story of the day. Winter is here, people.
Yeah, it's been here for a little bit.
It's been here for a little bit, but I feel like we're finally getting a taste of it.
Yeah.
It's been fairly mild with the exception of a handful of days up until now.
Very true. It seems like we've had a good stretch of cold weather past few days, and we're going to have more of it. Let's get to meteorologist Marty Snyder, who's tracking it out for us. And Marty, we're seeing snow out there for much of the day today, and those cold temperatures too.
Yeah, that's it. The combination of the two, definite winter-like mix out there. We're going to continue with some of the snow just on and off as we go through the day today. It's a story where we're seeing at least some of that occasionally pass through. You can see it very scattered on radar at this point. Some of it not even showing up. Some of it's so light that it's tough for radar to really detect all of it. And as we go through the day today, it's going to be tough to really get temperatures to move all that much either. We're going to rise through the teens and 20s today. I think all we'll do is get these temperatures back to about the low to mid 20s heading into the afternoon. Maybe a story where we see up to an inch of accumulation during the day today. And I think over the longer term, it's going to be a situation where we gradually do see it stack up a little bit, up to an inch to a bit. But overall, for each little time frame, when you break it down, really not a whole lot out there. But just given the fact the temperatures are so cold, salt's going to have a little bit of a limit on its effect. So just keep it in mind. Just take it easy this morning, walking on sidewalks, things like that, because they may be a little slick.
I might need some help with the driveway today, Marty.
Ooh, wow.
If you can take care of that for me.
I can do that. Dan, for you, I got your back.
So nice.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you, sir.
We're whammy.
Thank you. All right, so time right now is 8:02, and we are going to go now to some breaking news that we've been following this morning. Crews are on scene at a 2-alarm fire at Trinity Interfaith Church on Forbes Street.
13 Wham's Chris Lopez is live there at the scene with what we know so far. Chris, what can you tell us?
Yeah, guys, so we're on the intersection of Salina and Forbes Street right now, and the fire is pretty much under control. There's about 10, maybe a little bit more than RPD or Rochester fire trucks, dozens of firefighters controlling this fire. You can see right now that there is a window that is completely shattered out. I'm assuming, but I don't know yet, if Rochester Fire did break that in order to get into the fire. Now, there was a call of a 2-alarm fire that started earlier this morning. It was a report about smoke coming from a window, and this is the Trinity Interfaith Church, and this is in a neighborhood, but it doesn't look like there's any fire contagion that caught on to the neighboring houses that are close to this church. Like I said, there's about 10 Rochester fire trucks that are here. Now, the conditions this morning make this a pretty difficult fire to be put out. It's very slippery amongst the pavement. Just as we were just walking over into this area to set up, it's really slippery. So you can just imagine with the cold and the slippery conditions making this fire incredibly hard to put out. But the fire is under control. As for right now, Forbes Street is closed, and a portion of Gardner Street, that avenue is shut down. So if you're making your way, you'll have to use an alternate route. There still is questions that need to be answered. First and foremost, was anyone inside? Was anyone injured? How did this fire? That's all going to be stuff that we are going to be looking to figure out as this story develops throughout the morning. So stay tuned here on Fox Rochester. We'll keep you updated here live as well as online on 13 Wham. Guys?
Chris, I'm wondering, have you had a chance to speak with any of the crews? I imagine not. They look pretty busy at the moment.
Yeah, no, not yet. I am looking for a captain or a chief. I did text the PIO of Rochester Fire, and I haven't heard anything back. But we'll be working to find out that information as the story gets develops throughout the morning.
All right, Chris, thank you very much for the report. We're going to check back in with you in just a little bit. Time right now is 8:05, and we are going to get to time saver traffic on this Tuesday morning.
We certainly are. There it is. A look at some of those drive times as you wake up and head for the front door this Tuesday morning. You see things are starting to pick up there. You see those yellow lines there for stretches of 590 and 490. Things appear to be moving along. No issues on 390. So good news as you head out today.
Yeah, and just a reminder, Forbes Street is closed right now while crews continue to get that fire all cleaned up. Like Chris said, there are about 10 trucks responding to that scene right now. So that area is closed. Other than that, your major roadways are looking just fine this morning.
All right, let's switch gears this Tuesday. Time to talk about the poll of the day. We are officially 1 week, 7 days into 2025, and we want to know how you've been doing with your New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, here are the options. I'm just going to give them to you.
Yes.
So far, so good.
Okay.
Had a few hiccups. I'll try again next year, or I didn't make any.
The I'll try again next year. That one's just a little sad, isn't it?
You know, I think embracing reality and knowing yourself is a great.
That's fair.
It's a great task to.
That's fair, but it's only
achieve.
7 days.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Either way, we want to know your thoughts. When I checked the poll not too long ago, a lot of people said I didn't make any. And to those people, I'm going to say, well, then did you weigh in on our previous poll when we asked, do you have resolutions? Because people said yes, they did.
Yeah.
So I'm calling you out on it. Denial.
Oh, yeah. Weigh in, scan that QR code with your smartphone. It'll take you to our X social media page. You can weigh in there. Share this poll, comment below the poll. Keep those comments clean. We'll go through and share those results for you at the end of the 9 o'clock hour.
How have you been doing? Pretty good?
I have been doing.
Few hiccups or so far so good?
No, I would say so far so good. So also doing dry January. That's not really a New Year's resolution because it's just a month.
Yeah.
And I did make the disclaimer prior to that it was going to start on January 2nd because I can't celebrate New Year's Eve.
Right.
We did New Year's Day. And it was just a couple of mimosas with you guys.
Yeah.
You fine people.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was.
It was a good time.
It was a good time.
I'm glad that you are off to a good start.
Off to a good start. Staying strong.
Yes.
You?
Excellent.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm trying to be honest.
Okay.
Like I'm going through all of them. I've had a few hiccups.
Okay.
But I'm thinking that maybe that's just me being hard on myself. You know what I mean?
I would argue that you're probably right.
Okay. Like, my goal was to eat better and work out more, and I have been doing those things.
Sure.
Has it been only chicken and broccoli, and have I worked out every single day?
Nobody's expecting that.
But yeah, exactly. So
I don't want you to only eat chicken and broccoli.
I think I would have horrible breath all the time.
Well, I mean, I eat tofu and broccoli all the time.
I still love you.
In any event, again, weigh in on that poll. Those results for you at 9:30. Much more to come right here on ARC Rochester, including when we come back, we're learning more about the local services provided by the Willow Center.
Yeah, and don't forget, take us on the go wherever you are. Stream us live on the 13 WHAM YouTube channel. We're back after this.
8:11 this Tuesday morning. The Brighton community this week is mourning the loss of an 11-year-old girl and her grandmother.
Yeah, vigils are being held throughout the week honoring Annie Mancuso and Mary Licini. The events will span over 11 days, marking each year of Annie's life.
The two were killed in what police are calling a disturbing case of domestic violence. Counselors are continuing to offer support for students within the school district.
Meantime, anyone who is a victim of domestic violence or anyone who knows someone who is has resources available.
They certainly do. That is why we have asked Willow Domestic Violence Center to join us here in studio this morning. We welcome CEO Megan Day Chateauvieux. Thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, let's dive in and talk about exactly what Willow Domestic Violence Center does.
Sure. So we offer supports and resources for our community, for survivors of domestic violence and their loved ones, their children, their pets. We have a shelter. We have a 24/7 hotline. That number is 222-7233 for anyone who's experiencing abuse or thinks someone they know might be experiencing abuse. You can call us anytime, 24/7. Advocates are on standby to answer the call and answer your questions about domestic violence.
And Megan, there are different kinds of domestic violence out there. Can you go in depth as to what they are?
Yeah, it's very important to understand that I think we often think about physical violence first and foremost, and that certainly happens quite often as we have seen so many tragedies in our community, especially this one. But we also see financial abuse, we see emotional abuse, we see psychological abuse, we see technological abuse, cyber stalking, our phones as electronic leashes. I mean, there are so many different ways that people can experience domestic violence. And what it all has at its root is that it is a pattern of behavior that is designed to maintain control over your partner. So it's all about power and control. And it can often happen, you know, very quietly in the beginning, like you don't really know what you're experiencing and something feels kind of off. And then as you develop a relationship with someone, once some commitments are made, you move in together, you decide to be exclusive, you get married, you have children. Once the commitments are made, then it starts to escalate and the control becomes overpowering. And oftentimes people don't even know that they're experiencing it until they're in it and thinking, how am I isolated from all of my friends and family? How am I in this situation and how do I get resources to get out? And that's where we come in.
Yeah, and there are so many people that are victimized and in these situations. And I'm not in that situation, so I can't speak for them, but I would imagine they're looking for help or want that help so desperately, but oftentimes are afraid to ask.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, because I think oftentimes you also think that to ask for help means you have to make drastic changes. That is not the case. We will support people through every part of their journey. And if you just have questions about what are financial security, if you're not the main earner, there's so many different questions people have. And calling Willow does not mean that you need to make any decisions. You just can talk to us about your options and know that there's help here for you.
And what would you say to somebody who's maybe watching this and thinking, I know somebody who's going through this, but I don't know how to approach that topic? What would you say?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, but I think it's so important to be there for your friends and family and your neighbors. I think checking in with each other, just saying, you know, how are things going? How is your relationship? You know, if things are going well, that's great. I'm really happy for you. If they're not, you know, I'm here for you. Anytime you want to talk, I'm available. And then if someone does disclose to you that they're experiencing abuse in their relationship, the most important thing is to listen without judgment. Just listen. I know we often want to offer advice for people, like to say like, oh my gosh, you've got to leave right now. That is quite possibly the worst thing you can do. So when you're listening to someone tell you their story, just listen without judgment, without trying to provide any advice or guidance, and offer our hotline to someone. So you can say things like, I'm sorry this is happening to you. This sounds really hard. It is not your fault. And there are resources available like Willow.
Are there any other action items for those who know this is taking place, know that a family member, a friend is being victimized, and they are so afraid to share that with anyone else, even those that are close to them or in their inner circle? Are there any action items for those bystanders to take to protect their loved one?
Oh, yes. I would recommend calling our hotline and talking with our advocates because safety planning is unique to every situation. And if you're experiencing abuse or you see something happening at your neighbor's house and you want to support but you don't really know how, our advocates can help walk you through those steps of reaching out to that neighbor, asking the right questions, being available for safety planning, things like, all right, at 9 o'clock every night, I'm going to watch for your bathroom light to go on. And if that upstairs light doesn't go on, then I'll call 911 for you. And you kind of make those safety plans with your neighbors and your friends and family so that you can be part of helping them find that journey to safety, but you're not imposing your own advice or guidance, which can oftentimes lead to kind of dismantling that relationship too.
Is a list that is so long of other resources that Willow will provide, ideas just like that. For somebody sitting at home who's thinking, all right, I need to get in touch, just if you could give a quick overview one last time of some of the ways that you can help specifically with housing, with how people are going to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, absolutely. So calling our hotline is the first step to accessing services at Willow and throughout the community. We refer to a bunch of other agencies, so many partners in this work. Survivors should know they are not alone. We are all here for them in the community. We offer support at the court. So when you go to court for orders of protection, for family custody, we are there with advocates to hold your hand literally through the process, to be in the courtroom with you and talk through it. We have an emergency shelter. We also have housing supports and services. We have several apartments that are available for folks who need to just get out and have a safe place to stay. We also have prevention programs. So we are in the schools and we're talking to young people about what healthy relationships look like and what to look out for in a relationship, as so many young people are experiencing abuse now too. It starts so early. And then we have our program, the Family Justice Center, that is bringing together partners in one space to be able to provide services for survivors. So you come to our doors and we have partners who are there, we are there, we can say, what are your top 3 needs right now? And you might say housing and order of protection and food for my kids. And we say, done, 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 what's next? And that is the most wonderful gift to be able to say to someone, we can help you meet these needs and we can help you on your journey to safety.
One-stop shop.
Yes.
Megan, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and all of the hard work that you all do over there. I can't imagine being in your situation or anyone else's, but I am very thankful that you're there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
We'll post all of these resources for you over on Fox Rochester and on 13wham.com.
8:19 this morning. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more coming up. When we come back, we're going behind the story.
Yeah, we're back right after this. 821, welcome back. We're going behind the story right now, getting a closer look at some of the top headlines that we've been following.
Yeah, and we want to start things out with a developing story. Families across New York State could see a big boost in their upcoming budgets.
Yeah, Governor Kathy Hochul is proposing the largest expansion ever to the state's child tax credit, aiming to put more money in the pockets of parents.
News that they probably want to hear. 13 WHAM Stephanie Joseph is in the newsroom. She's been following this story for us all morning long. Steph, what can you tell us? How does this work?
Yeah, guys, so Governor Hochul says that an expansion of the state's child tax credit would benefit 1.6 million New York families. Right now, the credit only provides up to $330 per child. Under the governor's proposal for the 2025 State of the State, families would receive up to $1,000 per child under the age of 4 and $500 for kids 4 to 16.
All right, Steph, so how many families could be impacted in our area?
Yeah, and so we talked about that 1.6 million off the top, but in terms of the Finger Lakes region, that's about 180,000 families in our area.
That's really incredible. What does the governor believe this, why does she think this is necessary? Why does she think this is going to help families?
Yeah, one of the things that she had talked about was cost of living. For example, I believe that we have sound from her that we can pull up right here.
And you look at the grocery bills, diapers. Gosh, I couldn't wait for kids to be out of diapers. They're so expensive. And formula costs $200 a month. Groceries are up 23% from 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I should correct myself from earlier. That 180,000 number was for children in the area. That's 104,000 for households. But again, just pointing to that cost of living when it comes to taking care of young children, especially. I believe it's tripling the child tax credit for families under the age of 4 who have children that are under the age of 4, mainly for that reason.
It's still going to impact a lot of families.
Yeah. Steph, do we know what the next step is for this? Do we know how families are going to apply? Do we know what the governor's plan is going forward?
Yeah, so of course this is a part of the state of the state, so this is something that we will continue to hear more about as we go into the approval process. So I believe next week is when we will actually hear the entirety of the state of this by the governor at that point. But as of right now, this is of course in its proposal stages.
All right. Stephanie Joseph in the newsroom for us. A story we will continue to follow because, again, it's news for families, news they can certainly use. Thank you, Steph.
Time right now is 8:24. Don't go anywhere. We still have a lot to get to here on ARC Rochester.
We're back on the other side of the break. this Tuesday morning. Thanks for sticking with us here on ARC Rochester 827. I'm Dan Schrack.
I'm Abby Fridman. We still have a lot to get to this morning, but we're going to get right into our musical segment on this Tuesday morning. Thankfully, our next guests are here to help.
They certainly are. The Rochester Women's Community Chorus is bringing 100 years of music to the stage, performing a variety of songs from different eras and genres.
Yeah, it's happening this Saturday at the Harley School, and joining us this morning, we have Christy Houston and Teresa Zangi to tell us all about it. Good morning to you both. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
This is exciting. You've got to be looking forward to the coming weekend. We know about it because we got to read about it, but for those who are unfamiliar with it, give us a little overview of the show.
So we have a music selection committee that is in charge of putting together our pieces. And so they have chosen pieces from across the last 100 years that they really just absolutely love and that we love to sing. So we have everything from old school Disney When You Wish Upon a Star through the Indigo Girls and Annie Lennox. It's a lot more pop music than we sometimes have, but we're really enjoying it and we hope the audiences will too.
How many members are in the chorus and how long have the two of you been involved?
I've been with the chorus 5 years, and we've grown every year since we've come back from the pandemic, and we're roughly at 70 members.
Wow. And how long for you?
So I actually joined the chorus as a singer when I moved here in 2006 because I was looking for some place to meet people and have fun and make some connections. And I stepped up as the musical director shortly after our founding director retired in 2011.
Wow. Okay, so
really incredible.
70 of you, but just looking at the pictures, it seems like it's a pretty close-knit group, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
What do you like most about performing together?
We're kind of goofy.
You're goofy? What do you mean by that?
It's a group that we're encouraged to just be who we are. And so everybody's personality gets to shine, different levels of talent, different interests in music, and that's what's fun about it.
I imagine the rehearsal process is one of the great joys of being in a group like this because you get to spend the time. It's not necessarily performative. You don't have to worry about being on stage in front of someone at that time. You're kind of just a group of girls hanging out with your friends, right?
That is hopefully how they go.
So sometimes they go off the rails a little.
Oh, I don't know about off the rails, but we do have a lot of fun. We do try. We work hard. We are not an auditioned group, so we have everything from I've never sung in a choir before to I have a degree in music that I may or may not be using. So we do work hard at rehearsals, but we have a lot of fun and meet a lot of interesting people. Some of my good friends have met their spouses there. It's
wow.
That is fantastic. Yep. And you said the whole reason that you joined in the early 2000s was to make friends. So mission accomplished, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yep.
100 years of music. Like you said, it's a wide range of songs. Out of all of them, is there a particular point in the show that you're really looking forward to and you want the audience to really sit up and listen and take note of?
I think is that a what's the favorite song?
Yeah, I guess, sure. What's the favorite song? We'll go with that.
I think we'll have different answers. Do you want to go first?
When You Wish Upon a Star.
Yeah, that's your favorite? Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
We have a really lovely arrangement of The Times They Are A-Changin' that is, it's kind of a spin. It's very different from the original, but it's absolutely beautiful, and it's my favorite.
For someone sitting at home who... we'll get to ticketing information and all that good stuff in a second. I want to know, for somebody sitting at home who says, this seems like a group of people I want to spend some time with, how do they can they join? How do they reach out? How do they do that?
Absolutely. They can check us out on our website, which is
therwcc.org.
We start our new season next Tuesday and basically show up in any of the first 3 rehearsals and you're in. We do a little voicing to see how your voice would fit, so I have it in my ear, but there's no audition. You come and you join us and we'll be getting ready for a spring concert.
Very
good. Fun.
Thank you both so much for your time. For somebody who wants to stop by, do they need tickets? Where do they need to be? How do they show up?
Tickets are available at the door or for pre-sale on our website.
Perfect. Thank you both again. We really appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Time right now is 8:32. Stick around. We have much more to get to here on ARC Rochester. When we come back, we're getting a check of the forecast with our good friend, meteorologist Marty Snyder.
Hey, and don't forget, you can take us on the go wherever you are this morning. We're streaming live right now on the 13 Wham YouTube channel. We are back after this. Yeah.
That sounded awesome.
God, we got to get a better DJ.
Wow.
Boy, oh
Jeez,
boy.
We could just record you singing the little theme song.
Oh, we should. Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't know that I recorded a 4th of July song, and you still have it.
I still have it on my phone. That was great.
Terrible.
That was amazing.
Beautiful.
Welcome back. It's time to talk about the forecast this Tuesday morning. Meteorologist Marty Snyder once again with us as we talk about the day. Starting things out with the snow, Marty.
That's it, the lake effect. And it's one of those cases where it's not a huge amount of snow, but, it's just that little bit here and there that we're going to see as we head through time. You can see at least a few of those snow showers as they have been filling in, passing through parts of the area. And it's not going to be a huge amount that we'll see today. I think we'll be between probably a trace to an inch of accumulation. But when you stack that on top of what I already have seen from the overnight, what we will see tonight, it may start to add up just very, very gradually over time. Temperatures right now, they're mainly in the teens. Rochester lucky enough to squeeze out a 20-degree mark there, 22 up towards Ontario, 22 down towards Danville. So again, we are starting off quite cold. We just aren't going to increase temperatures today. What will increase will be the wind. So that's going to keep these wind chills down pretty well throughout a lot of the day. We'll take a look at some of the wind chills, and we're starting off with a lot of those numbers mainly in the single digits. Still a few areas to the south, like Warsaw, down below 0.
Yeesh.
Hey, look down towards town of Grove, 5 below for that wind chill. So slightly cooler for the temperatures down there. So that, of course, factors into that all that math that goes into those.
I appreciate the fact that you're calling them cooler. Slightly cooler.
Yeah, a little cooler.
Yeah.
Well, it's cooler than cool.
Yeah, which is
Grove.
exactly, yes, that's exactly it.
Marty, we know that we're a little bit below average from where we normally are this time of year, right?
Yeah, as far as the snow goes,
Yeah.
we're still seeing, we've seen, let's see, up to midnight last night, we've seen 23.8 inches of snow, so just shy of 2 feet of snow. Usually we've seen about 35.5, so we're about a foot below the average for the season up to this time frame. But, with these cold temperatures that we have around and with that really fluffy type of snow that we're going to see over these next couple days, it's going to
ask, being that below, a foot below average, how many complaints have you received in the weather office about where is my snow?
Yeah, not many yet.
Really?
I think it's been that kind of good balance because it's been cold enough for, say, like Bristol to be making snow, so it may not be as much natural snow as what we average, but at least they've had that chance with temperatures dropping back to get the snow guns going and, at least get them opened up. So I think we're kind of splitting the difference there. We're hopefully keeping some people happy with it.
Yeah.
The cold air that we're going to have this week, I don't think that's going to be to a lot of folks' liking.
Yeah.
That's a tough part.
The snow has been so light and fluffy. My husband got a new leaf blower for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
He went out there with the leaf blower,
Sweet.
did our
Perfect.
little walkway there, boom,
Yeah.
done. It was awesome.
I like it.
Did he only do your walkway? He didn't, just do the entire block?
No. I'm sorry.
Boy,
Take
oh
it
boy.
up with him.
I will.
He might be watching right now.
Buddy.
So is it corded or battery? Operated one. You don't know?
I have no idea.
Well, that could be your excuse. The cord doesn't reach the neighbors.
He gave me exactly what he wanted, and I gave it to my father-in-law. I said, this is
Perfect.
what he wants for Christmas.
There you go.
I love
Could
that
be
when it's the
gas.
link. That's true.
Yeah.
I don't
That would make friends with the neighbors pretty quickly,
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, when you're getting ready to go to work.
Here's the thing, though. But if the neighbor is out there, wakes you up while they're doing your walkway, you
Yeah.
can't complain about that.
Right, that's
you
true.
have zero ground to stand. Well, you've got all your ground to stand on because you've got clear sidewalks.
Yeah.
My poor neighbors. They must think I'm like some kind of gremlin because, we sleep weird hours, right? I'll come out of the house in the afternoon and like some awful grout it.
The sun.
Yeah, exactly like that. And they're like, hey. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm the same with the lights in my house. They go on pretty late at night.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's tough
Yeah.
on the schedule that we're on. You try to get out there and enjoy some of the sun during the summer. But it is
Yeah,
nice this
especially
time of
this
year
time of
because
year.
we get out of work so we can at least enjoy some of the daylight before
Yeah.
the sun sets rather than the 9 to 5.
Yeah, but we got sunsets at 2:45 in the afternoon.
but didn't we gain a full minute of daylight yesterday? Did I see that?
It's moving. It's moving slowly. Let's see, I
We're
think
in
I
the right
understand.
direction now.
Yeah, our sunrise is staying pretty constant at 7:42. So when you start off and your days start getting longer, you start adding a little bit more to the sunset.
back
So
end.
that keeps getting later. It takes a while for the sunrise to catch up and for that to start moving in the opposite direction. So we're adding a little bit more daylight at the end of the day, not so much of a change at the beginning of the day, if that
June
makes sense.
21st, that's the longest day,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. I like to take that day off because it's
I'm calling
It's
dibs on it.
nice.
I want
my request in
all the sunlight I can get.
Yes.
Give me that vitamin D.
That's it. I don't mind having the light in the evening like that. I can fall
No.
asleep when it's light out. That's
Yep.
not a problem for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
I
with you.
I just don't like the January blues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It gets tough this time of
Cold
year.
and gross and
Yeah.
Well, I
But
do
it-
have one of those lights, one of those mood. I don't think not a mood light, but it's the
Is
little
it the red
fluorescent
one?
Yeah,
No,
red or is it
no,
purple?
it's not the. Yeah, it must be.
yeah. Yeah.
I had it on yesterday.
Did it
was,
help?
it was dark in the room. It was just helping to illuminate the room. I don't know if it was so much of a psychological thing or not, but
I think they work. That's what my grow lights. They're for my plants, real house plants.
Okay, yeah.
Some of them are tropical, so I have to give them that light.
Yeah,
otherwise
right.
they won't make it. But I try and stand in front of them. My eyes peeled off.
you need some of that this time of year.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Marty. Appreciate it.
Oh boy, time right now is 8:42. We have much more to get to here on Arc Rochester when we come back. This week's edition of Crime Stoppers.
We're back after this. 8:44 this morning, it's time for this week's segment of Crime Stoppers. And this morning we are talking about 2 cases of missing teens in the city of Rochester.
Yeah, joining us now is Captain Greg Bello with the Rochester Police Department to talk about it. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Let's get right into it. 2 teenagers specifically that you want to talk about today.
Yeah, so in general, missing teenagers is unfortunately a chronic problem we have in the city of Rochester. And our community in general, teenagers like to run away. They like to be defiant. They like to have, these are 2 kids that have been missing multiple times. We've featured them in the news multiple times, and both have now been missing for several months. Angel's been missing since September. Janelle's been missing since November. They're both foster care kids, and they're both, I hate to use the word, but chronic runaway, which we have far too often in our community. And so what we're looking for is drawing attention to not just to these 2 cases, but missing kids in general. They're often found teenagers couch surfing, staying at different friends' house, or we find them, they've been staying at a friend's for weeks, sometimes months, and where's the friend's parents to get involved, and where's other adults to get involved? If you see a teenager, you see a child living in what appears to be an uncomfortable or wrong situation, we say something, say something all the time about violence, but that also includes making sure our kids are okay as well. If some random kid is sleeping on your couch for days at a time, there's probably a problem there. That's something you should reach out to somebody, whether that be the police department, whether that be social services, whatever it may be. Draw attention to that and find out what's going on in that kid's life. Get the proper resources involved so that we can help that kid and not just enable them to run away and sleep on a couch or not follow whatever rules they ran away from or whatever it may be. Because these kids they're 15. The girls we're talking about are 15, 16 years old. They can't take care of themselves, and they're taken advantage of. Far too often these missing teenagers are taken advantage of by adults in our community that want to prey on our young folks. And so these are 2 great examples, but again, there's lots of missing kids out there, and we're just looking for that help.
It's a situation where the adult or the house that they're in absolutely needs to intervene. And tragically, not far too often, but even once is far too often, these situations end in tragedy. Yeah,
unfortunately, and we have information on different missing kids, and we just had a girl last year that we found a missing girl that we found dead in the woods. And unfortunately, it takes everybody to get involved to help save these kids, and not just think that's a naughty kid or that kid's got problems, or not my problem. But beyond the violence aspect that we deal with, there's the getting these kids back on track, getting them the help they need so that they don't become another statistic in our community.
I'm curious to know the process of ditch out the door. At what point do the flyers get made? Does the hotline number go up saying this person is missing?
Yeah, so anytime you think your kid is missing, call 911. Okay, there's a misconception out there that there's a 24-hour rule or a 72-hour rule. That does not exist. If your kid is missing and you think your kid is in danger, call us immediately, and we'll immediately begin working and trying to find that kid. In terms of putting flyers out, anytime we do a missing person report, we always contact the New York State has a clearinghouse, has a website, missing kids, the national. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a mind blank, but the National Missing Exploited Children, right? They have a website, they put things out there. And so we're always working with those other agencies to get that out there. So don't wait. If this is outside your normal teenager's behavior to storm away, especially now in the cold month, Marty was just talking about the insane low temperatures we're getting. If your kid storms out that's not dressed appropriately for the weather, doesn't have a place to go, call us, because if your kid comes back a couple hours later, we can catch you in touch with different resources that are out there to help prevent this from happening again, or get you the help that you need parenting. I mean, we talked for years now about the kids that are out there stealing the Kias and the Hyundais. Half the ones we're grabbing are listed as missing kids because these are troubled youths. And so there's a lot that could be done at home, and there's a lot that could be done at friends' homes as well, right, to help these kids, keep them from out there getting into the criminal behavior. And it starts right back from the beginning of when they first go out missing. So we're seeking community help in finding all of these kids that are out there, but here's 2 specifically that they've been missing for months. And we feel that there's they may be in trouble, right? They've been missing for months.
And sadly, I think in communities everywhere, when they hear of chronic runaways, or they see the cyclical system, they see the same people missing all the time, it's a write-off. They wash their hands. What can I do in that situation? But there absolutely is steps that people can take when you see something, you say something. You have to intervene.
Right, and these two girls, they've been missing for months. We have no idea if they're safe or not.
Yeah.
We have they've run away before where their situations are not very safe. And so we need these two girls specifically, we need the community's help in bringing these girls home safely, because we know they're in a potential situation that's maybe not the safest place for them.
I'm wondering if we can pull up their pictures one more time and just give us an overview of, their names, any information you can give about where they were last seen.
Yeah, so on the screen now is Angel Phillips. She just turned 16 back in November. She last walked away. She was put in a foster home, and she walked away with her first day being in that foster home back in September, and hasn't been seen since. And she's been missing before, and we found her in, unfortunately, some not great situations before, and that's our fear, is that she's put herself back, either put herself or somebody has put her into some bad situations again. And this is outside her pattern to be missing this long. And so that's where we really need that help trying to locate her. And then the second youth, Janelle here, again, she's been missing multiple times before. She ran away from, or walked away from her foster home, both of them in the northeast part of the city in Clinton section. And again, we found her before in situations that are not healthy for a teenager, not good for a teenager at all. And that's where we're hoping to find her sooner rather than later, to get her out of whatever potential situation she may be in. And that's, again, where everybody coming together. If you see this girl, if you see either of these girls, please help us locate them.
Yeah, they're just kids, and they need...
That's it. They're 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
They're young. They may look older at times, right? If they're 15 years old.
Yeah.
They're kids.
Thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it. We will post all of this information, those photos, what you need to do, how you can be a part of the solution on our website, foxrochester.com.
Time right now is 8:52. Much more to get to here on ARC Rochester as we continue into the 9 o'clock hour.
We're back after this.
Good Tuesday morning. Thanks so much for joining us here. Here's your ARC Rochester news break. A fire at a Rochester church is under control at this hour. This is at the Trinity Interfaith Church on Forbes Street. 2 alarms were called for this fire, which started just after 6:30 this morning. The fire department says no one was hurt, and they believe the church to be vacant. Our Chris Lopez remains on scene here. He will have a live report coming up in just a bit. Jury selection begins today in the trial of the man accused in the brutal murder of a taxi driver in Rochester. 36-year-old David Lee Porter is accused in the murder of David Treese. Police say Porter pistol whipped and shot him multiple times during a violent robbery last April. Treese died on the sidewalk of Bay Street. Porter allegedly stole his cab, crashed it on Central Park, and fled the scene. He is facing multiple charges, including murder, robbery, and criminal possession of a weapon. We now know the identities of the 3 people arrested after a break-in at Bay Street Liquor in Rochester. It happened just after 9 Sunday night. Police had to call the fire department in for help because they say one suspect was found hiding in a ceiling crawl space during the arrest. 58-year-old Warren Valentin, 39-year-old Adam Howard, and 34-year-old Mandela Burwell have all been charged with third-degree burglary and petty larceny. We're told Valentin is also charged with resisting arrest. New state funding is on the way for major infrastructure upgrades in Henrietta. A $4.7 million grant will allow RG&E to begin the initial phases of the project, which will increase electrical capacity at a local substation. Town leaders say the upgrades will help attract and retain new businesses and industries looking to move to the area.
We've had a number of projects that have had to be turned away because they can't get power today. So this is a huge step in that direction. And I'll let you know we are pursuing multiple billions of dollars worth of investment in this area.
Now, the total cost of the project is about $17 million, and work is expected to begin sometime this year. Drivers could soon get some relief on the New York State Thruway. Assemblyman Angelo Santa Barbara, who represents part of Schenectady and Montgomery counties, has proposed a plan to make Thruway tolls free for Easy Pass users from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The goal is to reduce daytime congestion and save money for early morning commuters. This comes as drivers face recent toll increases, with another hike planned for 2027.
I think it's a good idea to start with a 2-year pilot program to analyze data, see if we can relieve congestion, mainly, especially to get some of the trucks off the road during those peak hours, which do cause a lot of the congestion as well.
I think the big question, though, is that's a huge loss of revenue for the Thruway Authority. How do you offset that?
Well, I think that as far as revenue, the Thruway does charge significant tolls. I think they do make a lot of money from out-of-state travelers as well.
The Thruway Authority releasing a statement saying in part, quote, "The Thruway is a user fee system supported by tolls paid only by the people who use it. Removing tolls on the Thruway would cut off the very dedicated revenue stream that supports safe and reliable travel for hundreds of millions of motorists each year and shifts the financial burden onto state taxpayers." The idea is gaining attention as the state evaluates how it could impact traffic and revenue. And for all of these top stories and any updates, be sure to visit our website, 13wham.com. Stick around. Our Rochester returns right after this.
o'clock on this Tuesday morning. It is January 7th. Thanks for joining us here on ARC Rochester. I'm Abby Fordman.
And I'm Dan Strack. There's much more to come right here this morning, including the fast food restaurant that's now accepting reservations for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
I cannot. That's interesting.
We're going to tell you where your next romantic dinner could be coming up in this morning's Dishing It Out.
Yeah, and then later we'll be going over the results for our poll of the day this morning. Since we are officially 1 week into the new year, we wanted to know, how have you been keeping up with your resolutions?
Your options. So far, so good. Had a few hiccups. I'll try again next year. Or I didn't make any.
Yeah, we want to know your thoughts and feelings this morning. Weigh in on our X account. Scan the QR code on your screen with your smartphone to get there right now. We'll share your answers coming up at the end of this hour.
We want to shift gears here, talk about a breaking news story that we've been following for you for the vast majority of the morning. Rochester Fire Department responding to a fire, a church now under control.
Yeah, let's go to Chris Lopez, who's live there this morning with what we know. Chris, still a pretty active scene out there.
Yeah, guys, it's still an active scene right now, but the fire is under control right now. I'm on the intersection of Salina and Forbes Street. Last time I checked in with you guys, it was probably about 10 fire trucks here, dozens of firefighters from Rochester Fire taking care and getting this fire under control. That is now reduced to about 4 fire trucks here. You still have firefighters that are in there working. You're seeing them tossing stuff out of the window. Now, this all started early this morning. It was a 2-alarm fire at about 6:33. I spoke with a representative from Rochester Fire. They told me it started at 6:33 and it took crews just 3 minutes to get here. Now, there is a fire station not too far from here, probably about a 5-minute walk, maybe a 2-minute drive. So they were very quick to respond here, and they got a report about smoke coming from a window. And as you can see, it's a pretty large building. This is the Trinity Interfaith Church. It's in a neighborhood. Now, I was told now, due to the structure and the size of the building, that's why the second alarm was called. Crews were on scene, and it took them about 40 minutes before they got the fire under control. I was also told there was no injuries. It does not look like there's any contagion from that fire on any of the neighboring houses that are in this neighborhood. There still are some pretty good questions to ask. Now, how did this fire start? What was the exact cause? And we will be working to figure that information out as we work our way through the morning and get updates from the reps from Rochester Fire. But once again, that fire is under control. There seems to be structural damage, but the most important part is there is no injuries. Guys?
Chris, wondering if you can see what it is that they're throwing out of the window right now.
Just pieces of wood, of what it looks like, almost furniture that got burnt, and they're throwing it out right now. That's what they've been doing pretty much all morning since we got here.
Okay.
All right. Chris Lopez out there for us live. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Stick around. Much more to come here on ARC Rochester when we come back. A seriously bananas situation that was resolved in Missouri. More is coming up.
Hey, and don't forget, you can take us on the go wherever you go. We are streaming live right now on the 13 Wham YouTube channel.
Welcome back. It's time to take a look at what people are talking about this morning in our segment of Trending Now. We're going to get into some animal stories this morning. 2 of DC's newest residents are enjoying their first big snow day.
Look at that. The giant pandas at the Smithsonian National Zoo in Washington caught on camera having a blast in the nearly 5 inches of snow that fell in their habitat.
Yeah.
Look at that rolling around.
Having the time of their lives. The zoo posted the video saying flakes stuck to their fur as the bears frolicked and somersaulted too.
Love it. The 2 pandas are getting ready for their public debut. That is coming up at the end of the month, the 24th of January. Giant pandas Bei Li and Qing Bao were both captured rolling around and playing in that video.
Yeah, that was shared to us by the National Zoo. Very, very cute.
Look at
and
it, and we've got that walk too. It's like, yo.
You look at those guys, and then you think about the people that pretended to be pandas. They dressed up in the panda costumes.
They were not pretending to be pandas. Those were real pandas.
No, I'm talking about the other ones.
The other ones were chow dogs that they spray painted to be pandas. Do you remember that story?
I do remember that. That was insane. But you look at those guys, and they're just the cutest.
They are cute.
I love them. So sweet.
All right, moving on. The next story, a bit bananas. Authorities in Missouri say they were able to contain a suspect who was found monkeying around.
Okay, so according to deputies, they were receiving multiple reports of a monkey wandering around a local highway.
Look at that little lady. When they arrived, they found a monkey wearing a pink tutu. Deputies posted on social media that they were able to get hands-on with the monkey after careful negotiations and a bit of coaxing.
Officers say that the monkey lived in a nearby residence and escaped by just walking right out the door.
I mean, it's a monkey. What do you expect? The monkey was returned to its owner, is safe.
And looking stylish.
Yeah, that tutu, it's got to go to the dry cleaner, though.
The monkey looks just as surprised as the rest of us. He's like, how did I end up here?
Absolutely. You taking my picture? Yeah.
All right, we'll move on now.
Some science news. A new groundbreaking discovery. Astronomers have identified the largest amount of stars halfway across the universe.
Researchers used the James Webb Space Telescope, revealing 44 individual stars in a galaxy that's so far away, its light dates back to when the universe was half its age.
Wow, that's pretty old. This is the largest number of stars found in a distant universe. The stars created a visible arc.
Ooh, I hear that stands for authentic, relevant, and community-based.
I do believe it does. But they dubbed theirs the Dragon Arc, not Arc Rochester.
Huh. Okay. Well, after analyzing the colors of each of the stars, researchers found many are red supergiants, which are stars in their final stages of life. What? You don't see the dragon?
No, I feel like with some of these things, they try a little too hard to make something out of it. Can't we just let the picture speak for itself? Do we need the dragon overlay? I mean, you could, it's an eel. You know, does it have to be a dragon?
Could be a pasta.
Exactly.
Looks like a pasta shape.
Honestly. The
macaroni galaxy.
That stuff bugs me.
Right.
Whatever.
Well.
What doesn't bug me? The findings also unveiled a new method of investigating dark matter, which is one of the universe's greatest mysteries.
Yeah, researchers are hoping that the follow-up observations of magnified stars in other distant galaxies.
All right, our final trending story this morning. One Airbnb host is under fire after giving guests an outrageous list of rules.
Okay, so the traveler who booked the stay in Queensland, Australia, posted the list to social media, asking others if it was a little bit too much.
Yeah, the list begins very reasonably, but then it gets a bit more aggressive. One rule states if the property is left in any other state than what it was found in, guests will pay a fee.
Okay, that doesn't seem
unreasonable. No, that one's reasonable.
Okay, so here are the listed offenses. Not washing up, emptying the dishwasher, leaving any mess either inside or outside, not cleaning the barbecue to perfection. Each is a $120 fee.
Okay, so here's Can I give you my damage?
But it gets worse. Hold on, just go through because it gets worse, and then I want to know the damage.
Okay, it gets worse. If guests use more towels than provided, it'll set guests back a whopping $60 per load of laundry, regardless of the exact number of extras used.
Excess rubbish will also cost you with an extra $30 charged for any additional trash bags used than the 2 provided.
While hosts can add rules, Airbnb says any unreasonable requests, like some may consider these to be, can be flagged.
We have no idea if this Airbnb host had to change their rules, but it's a lot.
Okay.
It's quite a few.
It is a lot, but no one is forcing you to rent that Airbnb.
I'm with you.
1. 2, if you stay in a hotel, taxes are going into the local economy, helping the local economy, and you don't have to do your towels or your dishes or anything in the hotel.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and the hotel might have a concierge. They can tell you where to go, what to do, how to have fun in the town.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah. I think
skip it. Yeah. I would skip that. I would flag that. I would write them a letter and say these rules are outrageous.
Well, here's the thing, right? So you book an Airbnb. I don't know the last time you did it. You book an Airbnb. The host will usually reach out. They'll say, hey, we're going to reach out once it gets a little bit closer. Once it gets a little bit closer, then they send you the rules. So that shouldn't be a surprise. It's not like you're going to walk into the Airbnb and they're going to leave you a list saying, hey, you know, if that is the case, then guess what? We're not paying.
Yeah.
Because it's not part of the Airbnb rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Read the fine print, people.
Yeah.
All I'm saying. Hey, stick around. A lot more to come right here on ARC Rochester when we return, including, once again, going behind the story.
Yeah, we're back right after this. 9:18, welcome back. We're once again going behind the story, getting the latest information on some of the top stories that we are following today.
Yeah, we want to turn now to Canada, where the search is on for a new leader.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announcing yesterday he would resign from the role and as Liberal Party leader.
13 Wham Stephanie Joseph is in the newsroom this morning. She's been following this story for us. Steph, keep us up to date. What's happening?
Yeah, guys, so all of this comes ahead of a general election slated for later this year, which Trudeau was widely expected to lose. Now, he has led the Liberal Party for 11 years and been prime minister for 9. He faced pressure for weeks over many issues, including soaring housing and food costs.
Okay, so is there an official reason as to why he stepped down? Did he think he was going to lose? What's the story there?
So obviously he didn't say that word for word, but yesterday in his remarks, it became clear that some of those internal issues that we had mentioned, seeing that he was getting less support in terms of those issues, really became clear to him. And one of
this country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election.
And another thing that I want to point out as well, we know that we've been hearing in recent weeks before President Trump's inauguration that is coming up, that tariffs has been on the mind, not only for Canada, but some other places as well. So we know that he was also facing some conflict, some turmoil in that regard.
And Steph, wondering how this is going to impact the rest of the government in Canada.
Yeah, so as of right now, Parliament is suspended until March 24th, I believe. So obviously there is a process going on now, that search beginning to find a new leader to take them through before that election cycle.
And what is going to happen between now and then? What has to happen in the near future?
Yeah, so once that next leader is chosen, they'll be able to lead. Parliament will be able to start back up. And another thing that I do want to point out, besides Trudeau losing some support, also the Liberal Party itself, the ruling party, has been losing that support as well. So we may see that there is a resurgence of the Conservative Party taking power here.
All
right. Steph, thanks for following that. We appreciate it. And we'll keep our eye on that story for you as well.
9:20 this morning. Stick around. A lot more to get to right here on ARC.
Yeah, we're back after this.
Tuesday morning. Thanks for sticking with us here on ARC Rochester. I'm Dan Schrack.
I'm Abby Ferdman. We still have a lot to get to coming up in the next half hour, but this is exciting. We're taking a look at an upcoming production. It's teaching kids a very important lesson.
It is. This morning we are going behind the curtain of an exciting performance of the longest running picture book on the New York Times bestseller list. It's called Press Here.
Yeah, theater young kids enjoy, or Tykes, is setting the stage for the musical this weekend. And with us this morning, we have the founder of Tykes, Frida Schneider, and cast member Alyssa Blodgett to tell us more about it. Good morning to you both. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Dan and I both have never seen this book,
No.
which is surprising considering it's, what did you say, one of the longest running, the longest running?
The longest running picture book in the history of picture books on the New York Times bestseller list.
That is what? Do you know how many years?
Well, it was written in 2010.
Okay.
Wow. There's no book that has been on the bestseller list longer, and I promise you, you are in for a treat.
It is.
Yeah, listen to him giggle over
I'm
here.
laughing over here. It is one of the simplest books so far, but it is. What is it about that simplicity that makes it so good?
This is what I think. I think children and all of us crave to have control, and it is exciting to turn the page and control what happens to the characters, to the dots on the page, and that's what happens in our show.
Well, we don't know anything about that.
No,
Well,
nothing
in our
about
show,
that.
This is the most audience interactive show we've ever had at Tykes, and the audience gets to control the actions of our sort of naughty dots with our lead yellow dot portrayed by Alyssa.
You are the Press Here dot.
I am the Press Here dot. Yeah.
What
that's
is
me
it
on the
like
cover.
taking on such a prestigious character?
You know, it is. It's a lot.
It's an honor.
It's
I'm
an
sure.
honor.
An honor,
Yeah.
really.
Sure. Yeah.
Honestly though, how do you bring life to something that, I mean, only has been brought to life on paper in this book, in a children's book, no less?
Yeah. So it was actually really interesting. All of the dots in the show, we all came up with our own backstory of how did we become a dot, and maybe we started as regular people and then we got sucked into the show and we became part of the show, and so it was a lot of classic character work, which is kind of silly to think about with being a dot.
So what is the premise of the show?
Well, the mom and pop dot shop need to open, and Turner and Page are in charge of making this happen. But unbeknownst to them, the sort of zany, naughty dots come to life and cause a lot of mischief and chaos and make it difficult for them to achieve their goal of opening this shop. So they have to try again and again and again to accomplish their goal. So the theme of this show is perseverance and also just sort of zany fun. And how do you handle chaos? And, what do you do when things don't go as planned?
So the show is not based it's not verbatim from the book.
It is based on the book, but there's the added element of this mom and pop dot shop, and of course the added element of tremendous, fantastic music. This is a musical, so there's music and dance and lots of bright colors and excitement. So there's a lot going on. It's a very exciting, dynamic stage.
You said that it is very interactive, the most interactive show that you've had at Tykes. What about it is interactive?
So anytime the audience does certain things like clap, for example, all the lights go out. So if the audience applauds, the lights go out, and then we have to turn them back on. So, and there's a lot of other little things that
Movement.
movements and stuff, and we call on the audience and call a person up to answer the phone when it rings and stuff like that.
So people in the audience actually come up on the stage and participate in the show live on stage.
I know you guys are great at doing shows that are the perfect length for the little people who get a little squirmy and need to get up and move around a little bit. How long is the show?
The show is 60 minutes plus intermission, and this is the absolute most perfect show if you have a kid who likes a little energy and movement, because this show requires that the audience get engaged directly and do movements, bowing, clapping, as Alyssa said, stomping, all different actions. So you're not sitting quietly in your seat. You are moving around, controlling what dots and the action on stage.
And I would imagine there's going to be people who show up with their book looking for an autograph from you.
Oof, gonna have to practice that.
Yeah.
So a great thing about Tykes is that our program booklet, on the back page, we have all our characters pre-autographed, so every person who comes automatically gets the real live autograph of every character on stage at every Tykes show.
That is very
Love it.
For somebody watching at home who says, I've got to bring the kids, I've got to bring the grandkids, the nieces, nephews, when and where, how do they get tickets?
Well, first of all, if you're sitting at home saying that, I highly commend your decision. Go to tykestheater.org. Shows are this weekend and next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, matinees at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. tykestheater.org.
Perfect. Press here. That's what it is.
I like rules.
I already finished the book. It's good.
It is
a good book. Yeah. I'm sure it's a fantastic show. Thank you both once again. We'll post all of this information and much more on our website, foxrochester.com, after the show this morning.
We have much more to get to here on Arc Rochester. We're back after this.
And don't forget, you can watch us on the go wherever you are this Tuesday morning. We are streaming live right now on the 13 Wham YouTube channel. Welcome back, 9:34 this morning. We are in the midst of flu season. Meantime, we're seeing headlines about the spread of bird flu.
Yeah, word coming in just the last day that the first person in the United States has died from it, and that person is in Louisiana.
Yeah, we do have many questions, and we're wondering if there's any reason for us locally to be concerned. So we asked Dr. Mary Rose Laguiavilla to join us this morning. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. You are an infectious disease, and you work in the infectious disease division, rather, chief at Rochester Regional Health, correct?
Correct. Thank you for having me this morning.
Absolutely. So, Doc, first and foremost, is there any reason for us to be concerned here?
At this time, regarding avian influenza, the overall risk for acquiring this infection is very low. So I think it's unlikely that we'll have a case. However, it's important to remain vigilant because we are in the midst of seasonal influenza, and that infection currently is widespread in New York State.
So what is it that spreads bird flu? Is this something that can be contained just by washing hands or staying home if you don't feel good?
In part, yes. The containment for avian influenza is similar to seasonal influenza. The transmission is likely via inhalation of respiratory droplets and potentially also exposure to contaminated animal droppings. So it is recommended that if individuals do have the potential for exposure to infected animals, primarily at these times animals would be, as mentioned, birds, but also has been noted to be circulating among dairy cows. If you have an occupation or an exposure for extended periods of time with potentially infected animals, the appropriate protective equipment would be that of gloves, eye goggles, a mask. At this time, CDC recommends an N95 mask, and of course, vigilant hand washing after exposure.
Is this something you can also get at the grocery store? And I'm thinking like the eggs that you buy, the chicken that you're purchasing, where your milk is coming from.
That's an excellent question. At this time, we definitely know that unpasteurized dairy products and milk products do contain a potential risk because the pasteurization process for dairy products kills the virus and kills bacteria. So avoidance of those products, including unpasteurized cheeses, is advised. When it comes to exposure to chicken or beef, what's recommended at this time is to cook these food products adequately because also the cooking products kills the virus. So avoidance of undercooked dairy products or meat. If you're handling food, the same practices that we would advise for any transmissible infections, such as Salmonella, E. coli, etc., would be hand washing and wiping down of surfaces after preparation of the foods.
Good advice there. I'm wondering, when it comes to overall concern, people sitting at home who maybe have a runny nose or a sore throat.
Yeah.
What is the likelihood that it is bird flu? Is it probably pretty unlikely if you've been preparing your food the way it should be and washing your hands?
Yes, the likelihood for bird flu itself is very low. But again, I'd like to hearken that currently there is seasonal influenza that is widespread in New York State now. So if you do have respiratory symptoms, and this is often things like, a nasal congestion, sore throat, fever, it's advised to still talk to your healthcare provider because testing that's available detects not only seasonal influenza, but some tests, especially in the hospitals, we have these molecular panels that can lead to a suggestion of bird flu. So if somebody is very ill and they do have an exposure to, again, sick birds or dairy farms, or they're in veterinary medicine, and they develop upper respiratory symptoms, or interestingly for bird flu, what's unique about the symptomatology is that it causes bilateral conjunctivitis, so redness of the eyes and irritation. That would be the right recipe that a healthcare provider might consider. Could this be bird flu? And then contact and collaborate with public health authorities to get additional testing.
I apologize. I do want to ask you before we run out of time here. Does the influenza shot, does our flu shot hold up against this virus or no? We're talking two different things.
That's a great question. So at this time, the currently available influenza vaccines, we don't know of how much protection, if any, that it provides. But what's important to note is that what seasonal influenza has in common with bird flu influenza is the N1 component, right? So seasonal influenza is often H1N1, although there's also some H3N2. Bird flu is H5N1. So in our seasonal influenza vaccines, there's a teeny tiny component of N1, and that may confer some protection, but it's not necessarily known to be complete. There are vaccine candidates that are becoming developed for bird flu, but they're not widespread available yet.
So we're keeping our eye on the bird flu. We know that the typical influenza, the general flu, is making its way around New York State and around the Rochester area. One thing before we run out of time, hearing a lot about the norovirus. Is that another one where people should be concerned about?
Norovirus, I would say yes. It makes people very, very ill and is highly contagious. So a very small amount of exposure within a household often will cause the majority of the rest of the household to become ill. The symptoms of norovirus are primarily GI, so a lot of vomiting, a lot of diarrhea, and people can become very ill and dehydrated from it. It is, again, very highly transmissible, and because if people have other comorbid conditions that make them vulnerable to dehydration, it may be important to contact your doctor if you need help for hydration.
Doc, thank you so much for your time this morning. We really appreciate it and really appreciate the guidance for our viewers sitting at home watching this morning.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks,
you do the same.
Time right now is 9:41. We still have a lot to get to coming up here on ARC Rochester. When we come back, we are dishing it up.
We're back after this. dishing it out here on Arc Rochester. Some food news. Isn't that what you want to talk about after that last segment?
No, it's not. I'm so nauseous. We're going to start things out.
Is it norovirus?
We're going to start things out with BYOB. Bring your own.
I didn't know this story was coming up either. Cinemark Theaters is getting ready to celebrate National Popcorn Day, and they're doing so in a very exciting way.
Yeah, coming up Sunday, January 19th for the National Day, they are hosting the first ever Bring Your Own Bucket event. Fans are invited to bring their own favorite clean container to fill it up for $5.
Okay, it can range, it can be a wide range of containers, but must be less than 400 ounces or 50 cups. So you can't bring a garbage can.
Yeah, fans do not need a movie ticket to take part in the event. So there you go. Get some popcorn for $5.
I'm wondering, could you go in with the garbage can and just do, I don't know, 10, 15 BYOB orders?
I don't know. I don't know the rules. I don't. I'm sure that if you really wanted to get argumentative about it, the people at the theaters would say they don't pay me enough for this.
they would.
If you really want to do it, fill up the can.
Take the popcorn kernels.
Yeah.
For those who don't want to bring their own bucket, Cinemark is offering an extra large popcorn bucket at all locations for $5.
There's also sweepstakes for fans to take part in. The only Cinemark in Rochester, by the way, is Tinseltown.
Hey, baby. Tinseltown.
What was that?
I don't
that was
know.
Awful.
All right, we got to move along now. McDonald's kicking off the new year with the return of a sweet treat.
Yeah, the fast food chain bringing back the fan favorite strawberry and cream pie.
The pie features strawberries and vanilla flavored cream baked side by side in a sugar-coated flaky crust.
The treat has already been spotted in states across the country. The return of the treat officially marks the end of the holiday season.
Spotted in states across the country as if it's evading law enforcement or something.
Like it's
The treat has been spotted. Fans are super excited. Some even saying it's a New Year's miracle.
I've never cared about anything that much.
Listen, if you think that is a New Year's miracle, you got to get a hobby.
I understand being excited about it, but
Yeah.
I've never had it.
Neither have I,
Okay.
but I wouldn't call it miraculous. Okay?
Maybe if you saw it walking in the woods on the side of the road.
All right, let's continue on this morning. It's almost that time of year. What time of year, you ask? Valentine's Day. Right around the corner, and one fast food chain wants to help plan your romantic evening with that special someone.
And nothing says romance like White Castle.
Darn tootin'.
Rolling out the red carpet for all the lovebirds out there.
Yep.
Accepting reservations for its Valentine's Day fine dining experience.
Oh.
Daniel, let's sign up.
The tradition has been delighting couples for 34 years. White Castle, what they do is they transform their restaurants into romantic dining destinations, as you see right there.
Okay, well, he's in a suit and she's in a hoodie.
Yeah, that's... and their coats are still being hung on the back of the chairs.
Okay.
Where's
all right,
coat
it's
check?
Fine. It's fine. Where's the coat check?
I mean, at least they didn't skimp on the decorations from Party City.
How dare you? I
on.
love Party City.
Come on.
So they've got tableside service, hostess seating, and clearly festive decor.
They promise not only hot and tasty food, but hot and tasty moments. Oh, gosh. Tens of thousands of guests attend this each year.
The nearest White Castle to Rochester is in Whitehall, Pennsylvania.
Would you do it?
Would I do it? No. You want to know why?
Look, they got their sign changes.
It would probably make me so sick. Like, realistically here, I can't eat greasy food anymore.
That's where you get norovirus. Need that bucket for a different reason. Our next story this morning, Chick-fil-A.
Two fan favorites that is starting today. Dan, take it away.
Yeah, they're offering their key lime seasonal beverages, either iced or frozen. The drinks are back after a 5-year hiatus. Now, the company described the key lime frosted lemonade as a sweet, refreshing treat combining Chick-fil-A and signature... Come on. We got to try around here. Lime flavor.
The people at Chick-fil-A say they're delightfully sweet and sour, too. They're also releasing their grilled spicy deluxe sandwich, which was first introduced back in 2021 and is now returning to all locations.
Maybe it has. The sandwich consists of... This is awful. The story placement not on point here. Grilled chicken breast, marinated with a blend of peppers, served on a multigrain brioche bun with Colby Jack cheese, lettuce, tomato, and a side of cilantro lime sauce.
Chick-fil-A says they're releasing both of these items to bring the spice in the cold of winter.
Still not going to be able to get them on a Sunday.
Very true.
Our final story this Tuesday. If you've purchased some Deep River potato chips within the past 8 years, you might be eligible for a bit of cash.
Okay, so the Old Lime Gourmet Co., which is the parent company of Deep River Snacks, reached a settlement in a class action lawsuit claiming that the company misled consumers by labeling certain chip bags with a non-GMO ingredient graphic.
Lawsuit claims that labeling the products with graphics implies that they were certified by a third party when in reality they were not.
The chip company denied the allegations. The court has not yet decided who is in the wrong here. However, anyone who purchased the potato chips sold under with the non-GMO ingredients graphic from February 2017 through December 2024 could receive money from the settlement.
Claims are being accepted until July of this year. To file a claim, you can visit the class actions website. I wonder, do I need proof of purchase? And what am I getting? 95 cents? What am I getting?
I don't know. I don't know the rules.
About $10. Do I need to provide a receipt, producer
No,
Ashley?
I could just, no. She said no.
Oh.
Weird. I've definitely eaten them.
You have? The
Yes.
non-GMO ones?
I am fairly certain, yes.
Did you enjoy those genetically modified?
From what I remember, sure.
It made them taste better. Stick around. When we come back, our final thoughts.
And boy, do we have some. We're back after this. Welcome back. Time now for our final thoughts of the morning.
What are you thinking?
I think we probably should do the poll of the day.
We probably should. The poll of the day, we wanted to know, since we are officially 1 week into 2025, we want to know, how have you been doing with your New Year's resolutions? Your options, so far so good. You had a few hiccups. You're trying again next year. Or you didn't make any resolutions.
All right, when I looked not too long ago, wasn't awesome when it came to the results, but let's take a look. I didn't make any. 65%.
Okay, we got liars in there. We got liars right in there. We have people who have just given up and today are saying, oh, I'm just going to say I didn't make any.
Yeah. Listen.
Hold yourself accountable.
I know. I'm with you.
Right?
We know who you are.
We do. We have that information.
We do.
IT
and you know
does.
what? It's fine, but
we're judging silently.
We're silently, out loud judging.
Yeah,
yes,
we are.
That's what we do best.
Hey, that does it for us here on Arc Rochester. Make sure to wake up with us tomorrow morning over on 13 Wham. We begin work at 4:57. Well, in-studio work at 4:57.
In-studio work at 4:57. And hey, we also have much more live local news coming up later today, which is 13 Wham News at midday. You'll see Stephanie Joseph there.
You will. Have a good one.
We'll see you.